Hey everybody, it's Kathy Braxton from Improv for Caregivers, and today I'm going to address a question that has been asked a couple times on Reddit, actually asking for advice, specifically about what to ask when you are taking your loved one to a neurologist. This question just came up today, and it prompted me to think that there are some definite things you should be asking when you're taking your loved one to the neurologist, specifically if you are suspecting some form of dementia. So I did make some notes to make sure. Make sure to ask your neurologist what type of assessments they're doing. Most likely they're going to interact with your loved one in some way, shape, or form. One of the most simplistic things they're going to do is something called the mini mental status exam, an MMSE. Quite simply, it's going to assess short-term, long-term memory, recall, and then just kind of orientation to time and place. Very simple, shouldn't take very long at all. And make sure that if your loved one is taking this test, don't let that be the only indicator that your neurologist is using to help diagnose. So ask more, ask for more. Ask if they do a depression scale. Oftentimes there are some symptoms of depression that when we do some interventions to help reduce that, we see symptoms that look like dementia actually go down, actually go away. And it's one of the more underdiagnosed diseases or diagnoses that can look a lot like dementia. So ask for a depression scale to be done as well. Also, another one of the cognitive assessments that they do is something called the MOCA, the MOCA. Off the top of my head, I can't remember what those stand for, but essentially it's a little bit more of an extensive exam. Maybe it takes 10 minutes. It definitely brings a little bit more into the exam in regards to like mathematical skills and reasoning and logic, but it also accounts for education, which is interesting because a lot of other cognitive tests do not attest for that. If someone did not finish high school, so they don't know something, specifically know it, it shouldn't be reflected as not having that knowledge anymore because of a dementia. So ask for a test that allows and kind of does the math to kind of balance out educational level, right? We want to make sure that that's accounted for. And then there's a test also called the clock test, if you've seen this before. Essentially, it's asking the person to draw a clock and to show on the clock a specific time. Now, here's the key to this test. It's not the finished product that indicates that there's an issue. It's the process. And I am not a neurologist, but I will say that I have cognitive impairment myself. I have seen many neurologists. I've also done this test and I have the experience on how to perform this test with others. The key is the process. So the doctor or the nurse practitioner needs to watch your loved one actually do the clock, draw the clock. They should be looking at each small step that that person is taking when they start to draw, okay? That's going to give them some indications in regards to potentially how far progressed their dementia may be, okay? Okay. Make sure your neurologist asks about sleep. If they don't, you should say, hey, what are your thoughts about, her sleep patterns, his sleep patterns? This is what we're seeing at home. What are your thoughts on that? Hopefully your neurologist shares some insights with you on the importance they feel about sleep the same way that I do. That's my hope. And then remember that Alzheimer's as a disease is a disease of exclusion. Please remember this. There are tons of types of dementia, right? Dementia is this umbrella term, just like the term cancer. Please do not walk out of your neurologist's office or your doctor's office with the only knowledge that mom has dementia. It would be the equivalent of you walking out of your doctor's office knowing that you have cancer, but you don't know what kind, right? Same thing. What kind of dementia? If they are thinking it's a dementia, right? Now we need to talk about what type. There's more testing that needs to be taken and assessments. We want to exclude things, right? I had a friend who I helped. I was convinced by all the things he was sharing with me that his father had a form of dementia, most likely an Alzheimer's type dementia. And in fact, he had a brain tumor. So this happens, and it happens often. And when they're misdiagnosed, then we often mismedicate and we use the wrong things. So don't walk out of there going, yep, mom's got dementia. We're done with this. No, what kind? And if the doctor says, I'm not sure, Don't let it be an unspecified dementia. Well, what do we need to do to find out what kind it is? Blood tests. Do we need to look at cardiac output? What types of things do we have to do, right? Don't be afraid to say that, because remember, as I said again, Alzheimer's disease is a disease of exclusion. We need to exclude all other possibilities before we write that down on a form, okay? So I'm hoping that this helped you. Remember, there's different types of assessments. There's different ways to look at those assessments, right? It's not just getting the finished product like a test and grading it. Not a lot. Talk about sleep, ask about depression, ask about any interactions of medications maybe that are showing these symptoms, that are, having these happen. And then remember, don't walk out until you feel satisfied that you have an answer that you can go home and start to research on and talk more about on Reddit or whomever. But there is no such thing as a diagnosis of dementia. What kind? Find out. Remember, and I have to always read this little silly note, I'll have a link to my Reddit account, my email, and the original post in this description. And you can reach out to me at r/dementia through Reddit or on my email, which is improv4caregivers@gmail.com for any questions or comments. I am looking forward to hearing you guys. Just keep giving information about what do you need suggestions with, what do you need help with. That's what I'm here to do. That's why I look like this today, because obviously we know if this appointment is tomorrow, you need this information now. So no time for the hair and the makeup, right? Take care of your loved ones. Take care of yourself. Talk to you soon.